All right, guys, good evening. Welcome. My name is Sean Lynch, tonight's host. I want to thank you for taking the time to come out here today to listen to us talk a little bit about some interesting things that are going on around the world that you just might not know about, or you might know a little bit about it, but you're just looking to learn some more. So my name is Sean Lynch. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and a little bit about myself, just so you get to know why I'm here, so passionate about this topic. I grew up, in the system. I went through high school, college, university, always did my best to get those top grades, did the sports, got a job right after school. And then with that job, I was making some money. And then with the money, I just decided to start spending. I bought my first home, I bought a car, I furnished the home, and then, the kids started coming along. And slowly but surely, you're putting this all on debt, right? Or you're financing things, and you're not actually putting any money to work for you. And 10 years later, I found myself in my early 30s, stuck, drowning, wondering how am I ever going to get out of this hole that I somehow ended up in, because it's not what I was expected, right? Growing up, when you're in school, you're not really taught much about finances, and you're taught to take student loans, to get a piece of paper that doesn't really do much for you nowadays, because everybody has that piece of paper. And, the world is changing with social media, the internet. And you know what? I got really lucky, I guess. I ran into some good people on social media and maybe it was just at that time where I was looking for something new. And it got me changing the way that I think. So I started reading a few key books, surrounding myself with people that want what I have. And because of that, I started to change my daily habits, take in information, and then applying some action. So fast forward to 2016, December. Had I fallen on this information maybe a year back or a year earlier, I probably wouldn't have acted on this information, because I didn't have that investor mindset, if you will. I never put a penny aside for something that wasn't going to be spent on a credit card bill or something, right? So if you're hearing this information and you feel like, oh, I don't have any money to get started, or I don't have any money to invest, well, perhaps start changing the people that you surround yourself with, so you can learn how to make money work for you. And we're in the world's biggest bull market right now, with a new technology that has the potential to reshape our world like no other. Okay, so it's still in the very early stages, but in just one short year, I've seen tremendous change already, because I'm part of this space and I follow it every single day. And many people don't even know what's happening. So if you're in here tonight, just pay attention and make sure you share this information with others, because big changes are potentially coming. And those who act on those changes have the potential to profit tremendously for being in early. And so what we're going to be talking about today's topic is Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and how you can get more cryptocurrencies without actually going out and buying them. Because once you start seeing the price, you might think, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to go out and buy some? It's way too expensive now. So we're going to talk about some ways to generate more of it passively over the next couple of years, so that we can get residual income for ourselves. So I'm going to start with a brief explanation about what is a Bitcoin. If you've never heard that term before, you probably might start seeing it pop up even on mainstream media or on your social media feeds. Bitcoin has been around since 2009. It was briefly after the economic crisis, the housing crash caused by central banks having the power over money and causing that collapse. And right then and there was a tech paper, we call it a white paper, that was introduced on a cryptography board, giving the world this tool, this way for people to exchange value over the internet without a third party, without an intermediary. Because when you have a third party involved, if you give control, like a bank or like a Western Union or a PayPal, then they have all the control, right? They set the fees, they're the monopoly, they decide who gets an account, who doesn't, and you have to go by their rules, or else you get locked out, and then you can't do commerce, and you end up being on the poor side, right? So this technology, Bitcoin and the blockchain, allows anybody anywhere in the world All you need is an internet connection and a cell phone. And right now, Android phones are like 20 bucks. Everyone has access to a phone. There's more people that have access to cell phones and internet than they do clean water in their homes. So the accessibility is there, and this gives everybody in the world a chance to have their own bank account, where before it was impossible because bank accounts would not let them have an account, right? People can't identify themselves. There's billions of people that can't even identify themselves. They don't have photo ID, birth certificates. So without that, they can't take part in commerce. And that's why we see these big inequality gaps these days, where the rich get richer and the middle class is just disappearing, right? So there's pretty much no middle class. It's poor and super filthy rich. So let me share my screen. We'll start here with a little PowerPoint presentation. So what's the Bitcoin? For those who've never even seen a Bitcoin, we're calling it a currency. I mean, it is a currency. It's got all the properties of a currency, and it's decentralized in nature, which means that it's not controlled by a government or an institution. You don't need a third party. You don't need a bank or a middleman to keep people's balances up to date. And we'll touch base on why that is. Bitcoin is sent over the internet directly from person to person with no banks or intermediaries. So that's very important because we're in an age now where we're all connected. The internet is everywhere. Everybody's life has been affected by the internet. And now we have a means to send value to people across the internet, anywhere in the world, because of this new technology. It's fast, it's safe, it's somewhat anonymous, and anyone can set up a Bitcoin account with no qualifications. All you need is a cell phone and an internet connection. You don't need ID. You don't need anybody's permissions. You can just hook up, get connected to this network, and start exchanging value with others. Now it says here, this PowerPoint is a little bit outdated, but the fees right now are a little bit on the high side, but that's due to technological limitations which are being worked on. But there's no chargebacks and there's no borders. So you can send this to anybody. So that's what a Bitcoin is. And before we move on to the next slide, I've shared this analogy with people before, but it is my favorite. I love poker. I play casually with my brother and my friends. $20 buy-in. We start with a couple hundred chips and we play for a few hours until there's one person left standing. Now, if we didn't have our chips, how would we keep track of everybody's balances? Well, probably just use good old-fashioned paper and pencil, right? So everybody starts with a certain amount, and then every 10 minutes, let's say, we kind of pause the game, and then we check each other's balance sheets to see who's cheating. And that's how Bitcoin works. It's a decentralized network, so it's just computers all over the world, kind of like BitTorrent. So it can't be shut down like Napster was. It's not a central server that a government can just go and raid and turn off. If you find a computer that's running the Bitcoin software in one area and you shut it down, 10 more will pop up, okay? Just like the mythical Hydra. You cut off one head and more will pop up, right? So it cannot be shut down. There's not enough manpower. The only way it could be shut down is if we turned off the power, right? So completely wipe the internet. But if that happens, then we'll have a lot more problems than, hey, how do I access my Bitcoins, right? So that's not really an option. And sorry, I lost my chain of thought. Where was I going with this? Right, back to the poker game. So it's decentralized and it's a consensus-based model. So when you announce to the network that you want to transfer a Bitcoin from one person to the other, you're announcing it to the entire network that this transaction is about to take place. And these transactions get piled up into what we call a block. So it's basically just a list of transactions that need to be verified in our modern payment system. Who verifies these transactions to make sure that people aren't able to double spend their money, and whose balances hold how much? Well, those are the banks, right? That's the job of the banks, the PayPals, the Western Unions. But now these ledgers are updated through all those computers that are participating on the network. And what backs it is mathematics. We're not going to cover the details of a blockchain, but hopefully at the end of this call, you'll be, passionate enough to go read up on how a blockchain is secured on your own by looking into some cryptography. But at the end of the day, it's not really important that you become the expert on how it works. You just have to know it works. You've been using the internet now for many years. Most of you on this call, I'm sure, don't know anything about the protocol behind web browsing, the HTTPS, everything, TCP, IP, all those terms that you might have seen. I'm sure many of you on this call have never heard of it. I haven't personally, but I still use the internet. Same thing with your car. You drive every day. I don't know how the engine works mostly, right? So you just have to know that it works. It's proven. It's open source. The brightest programmers in the world, everyone has access to this open source code. They can read it. They can contribute to make it better over time. So it is safe and it works. So that's how we can keep these balances up to date. So that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is that we can actually send and receive value with each other, know that the values make sense, because before this, everything digital can be copied, right? If you think about pictures on your desktop, if you have a picture of $1, but then you can make 1 million copies of it, right? So I can't send you a picture of my dollar and say, here, now it belongs to you. You have ownership of this dollar, because I could have made 10 other copies. So you wouldn't know if that copy was authentic or not. But this is the first time that we can do this and trust the system. And there's a limited supply, and that's what's causing the price to go up. So if we look at the price of Bitcoin today, which is very exciting, especially for those who are involved right now. Just share my screen again. So here's a website called coinmarketcap.com. This is a very useful resource to keep track of the digital currencies circulating on the internet right now. And Bitcoin here has the largest market cap, sitting at $242 billion in market cap, and one Bitcoin valued at around 14,500 US dollars. And if we look at the price growth here since its inception, it was pretty flat last year, and now it's spiked up. Now, what's causing this rise in price? Why is it like vertical right now, right? Well, it's because people are now doing their research. It's getting more mainstream attention, and people are realizing just how bad central banking, fractional reserve banking is, and how their purchasing power year after year. I check my tax returns, and I've been making the same amount for the last 10 years, give or take $1,000 to $2, depending on my overtime. But everything else is getting more expensive to buy. Gas is going up. My food bills are super expensive, and it just causes your money to be worth less. And over time and over history, all paper fiat dollars have gone technically to zero eventually, right? So with the printing of dollar endlessly, that causes all this inflation, which makes your currency worth less and less and less. And I didn't even realize that I think Zimbabwe has $1 trillion bill. So before learning about Bitcoin, I didn't realize what was going on in other parts of the earth, which allowed me to educate myself. And that's what happens when you lose control of the money supply. The wheelbarrow that is holding your money is worth more than the money it's holding, right? So we don't want to get to that point. We want to take action now and get some financial security. So diversifying into a cryptocurrency is a good idea right now. Most of the panel will agree. Those who've started this year have been rewarded, and there's no signs of it slowing down. And so that's why the price is going up, because there's a limited supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's a current market cap of 245 billion, but if you look at that's nothing, right? When I started looking at these numbers, like, okay, what is 245 billion? What does that mean? Is that a lot? Is that not a lot? And if you start doing your research, then you start putting numbers together. So, okay, gold. I know what gold is. Gold's been around for a long time. And the World Gold Council here gives a total estimated dollar amount of gold at 7.8 trillion. That's just to give you an idea that the money coming into the space, it's still really new. At only $242 billion, you've got a $14,000 Bitcoin. Imagine when this hits $1 trillion market cap, or 2 trillion, or what if we ever equal gold one day in the near future? Now imagine what the price is going to be. So this is what's really exciting, because we're still early. And if you can start acquiring some before the masses, if you can get in before the cusp, then that's where profits will be made. Because if you wait a year, if you wait 2 years, and then everyone's using digital currencies, every website is accepting it, then you're just going to be a user. You'll just be converting some US dollars or whatever money there is then to digital currencies that you could spend on a website. And just like you do day to day right now, when you travel from country to country, you exchange your local currency for the foreign currency. Well, now you'll be exchanging currencies for digital currencies, but you won't profit from it, right? Because there'll be so many people using it that the exchanges, the values won't fluctuate so much like they do today. The reason why they're spiking is because more and more people are entering the space, and now at a very rapid pace. When I bought my first Bitcoin last year, let me show you a screenshot because it's pretty funny actually. It was, log into my Facebook. I think my first Bitcoin transaction, I paid $900. Well, you don't have to buy them in whole units. They're divisible into small parts. So I think I posted this yesterday. Where'd it go? Here it is. So last year, December 23rd, I bought 0.1 of a Bitcoin for $115. Now, how much would 0.1 of a Bitcoin cost me right now at $14,500? It cost me $1,450. So I think I got a good deal last year with my $115 purchase. What do you guys think? Let me see a thumbs up if you guys think I got a good deal. So this is the life-changing opportunity we have in our hands here, is that we're getting in early where we can purchase. We're going to teach you how to purchase and acquire these digital currencies, how to store and secure them. For a lot of people, it's overwhelming because it's new, but don't be afraid of new. Just think about when the internet was launched back in the 90s, when email was clunky and hard to use, and email didn't have much value because not everybody used it, right? Only the smart computer people, right, would use email because they knew how to do it. So email didn't have much value. But then as time passed and it got easier, the interfaces, the software made it easy for grandma to use. Then now email has value because a lot of people are using it. Same with the fax machine. Same with anything that has value when you have a network. And Bitcoin is getting that network effect right now. More and more people are going to start using it, which is going to increase its value. So you might see a lot of articles saying that Bitcoin has no value. It's not backed by anything. There's no gold behind it. It's not going to be worth anything. Well, it is, because as more and more people use it, people are going to value it, because they're going to value it because they can store it. They can send it to whoever they want. No one can tell them no. And they're scarce, right? They can't be created in unlimited supply. So they're always going to be scarce. All right, desktop. Next slide. So who uses Bitcoin right now? A lot of people do. Japan pretty much has it as a currency, official. So like 260,000 businesses in Japan accept it. Here's a few other websites that accept Bitcoin. You got Expedia. You can book your planes, Fiverr, Dell, Tiger Direct, Overstock. You see the CEO talk about Bitcoin all the time. He's a big fan of accepting Bitcoin for good reason. I mean, yeah, he's going to make a lot of money collecting Bitcoin, selling his products. Subway, Shopify. So the retail adoption is growing, and as more and more people start to use it, these digital currencies will be adopted by more and more retailers, and it'll get easier over time as. And that's what's going to create a big demand for these coins. So we've kind of covered this already. Why would you consider getting some Bitcoin? Because for the first time in the history of the world, anyone can send and receive money with anyone else, anywhere, instantly, almost for free, and it's impossible for anybody to stop them, including governments. Someone's trying on the screen. Is that you, Jake? So the good old Papa John's pizza. Who wants to guess how much that pizza costs today now? The first Bitcoin transaction ever recorded was on May 22nd, 2010. Someone wrote on a forum, "Hey guys, I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoin if someone wants to deliver some pizza to my place." And someone responded and actually delivered the pizza and was paid 10,000 Bitcoin. Now back then it was worth roughly $25. So let's do the calculation here. So this famous Papa John pizza, 10,000 Bitcoin times $14,500 US. We're looking at a whopping $145 million for that Papa John pizza. Hope it was good. So why should you be excited about getting into Bitcoin? Well, a lot of the rich and smart people are already doing it. So when you look at venture capitalists, when you look at the richest people in the world, like Bill Gates or Richard Branson, they've all got money invested in Bitcoin and in startups to grow the ecosystem. Here's the amount of venture capital that's gone into Bitcoin since 2012. And we can see that it's growing year after year after year. 2012, with $2 million was raised in venture capital. 95 in 2013, 361 million in 2014, 396 million in 2015. And let's go take a look at the most recent years here. Here's a website called CoinDesk, Blockchain Venture Capital. And we're currently sitting at, so 2017 year to date, raised another 350 million. So we're about at $1.9 billion in all-time venture capital raised for Bitcoin and Bitcoin startups, services like exchanges, wallets, infrastructure, payment processors. So all this information is very transparent. So when you get in this space, you can kind of do all this research yourself and learn. It's pretty exciting. So there's a lot of money in this space. A lot of people want to see it being adopted. So that's another reason why many on this panel believe that Bitcoin is here to stay. So it's not as risky as many would like you to think. Now, what's great about Bitcoins is that there's an incentive to get on the network. So those transactions need to be verified, right? They need to be verified by people who are on the network contributing their computing power. Because if there's no banks, if there's no PayPal, how are those transactions being verified? How does that work? Well, people have to contribute computing power to the network to secure it. So the computers will solve math problems. That's all you really need to know. By solving math problems and taking old transactions from the previous 10 minutes and tying them in with the new block of transactions that they're verifying, this creates a chain of transactions that cannot be changed afterwards. So it's an immutable ledger. So I can go back 3 years ago and see, how many Bitcoins were in a particular wallet and how many were sent to a different wallet, and I can't change those numbers. I can't go back and say, there was 20 Bitcoin, not 21 in that wallet, because in order to make a change, you'd have to go through all the other transactions. So that's pretty much how detailed I want to go into a blockchain. But hey, what secures it? It's actual hardware. So it's devices like this. So it's just computers that are basically solving math problems. The computers cost money. The computers need to have electricity. They need to be cooled. They need to be updated and maintained. So this work that people will contribute into the network, well, they'll be rewarded with what we call with new Bitcoin. This is how the Bitcoin come into circulation. And this is how people are incentivized to secure this network, because if there wasn't an incentive to do so, then nobody would do it, right? And then the network could not exist. So going back to this screen here, Bitcoins are mined every 10 minutes. New Bitcoins are released every 10 minutes and are released as a reward to the miners. And this will happen until the year 2140, when all 21 million Bitcoins will be created. This total cap will create scarcity and prevent inflation. And if I haven't mentioned it already, one whole Bitcoin is divisible into 8 decimal places. So there's more than enough partial Bitcoins to be shared amongst people and distributed and sent, but only ever 21 million whole units. Now, before I move on, I'd like to know, if anyone has any questions, if you want to shoot one at me, and if not, I'll continue. Okay. So that's my introduction to Bitcoin. I hope that helps if you haven't heard about Bitcoin or what it is, this should be enough information to do even more homework, and reach out to the person that invited you here or to myself, and we'll show you, some other resources you can use to start learning. It's all on the internet, right? YouTube channels. There's no school of Bitcoin yet. I've seen a book for dummies, but there's plenty of information at your disposal that we can direct you to, so you can learn about Bitcoin. Now, how are we going to make money? You can buy and hold. You can mine it, or you can trade it. So from showing you a screenshot of my very first Bitcoin purchase last year, buying 0.1 of a Bitcoin for $145, it's grown now over 1,000%. So that's by buying and holding it. So that's how you're going to make money. You just buy and hold. Now, buying a whole Bitcoin today, if you're just getting this information now, it's going to be very expensive to buy a whole Bitcoin because it's at $14,000. And I know not many people have a few $100s in their bank account. Where are you going to get 14,000, right? So the other way to get some Bitcoin is to mine it. So what do I mean by that, Sean? Do I have to go out and buy this hardware myself? I don't know how to hook this up. I don't know how this works. Well, no, we've got an opportunity we want to present to you tonight where we crowdfund Bitcoin mining, where we let the experts buy the equipment, we let the experts program it, maintain it, run it, and these are done in secure, large facilities in strategic places in the world, and these machines will run 24/7, 7 days a week, securing this large distributed network so people can send and receive Bitcoin to each other, and then we collect the rewards. We collect those newly mined Bitcoin every 10 minutes. If we can get those blocks, that'll give us a deposit every day. And that's how we're going to increase our Bitcoin count over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and for the life of Bitcoin, because there's no Bitcoin without the miners, right? If you remove the miners, then you've got no Bitcoin. So that's what's very exciting, guys. If you can get a position in a company or a facility that's going to pay you in Bitcoin for as long as Bitcoin is around. And for me, that's very exciting, especially with the growth this year. So, and what I like about Bitcoin is it's very transparent. The more you start learning about Bitcoin and digging around, you'll see that there's a lot of opportunities out there that allow you to earn Bitcoin, but 99% of them are total like ripoffs, right? They're just like there's scams online for dollars. It's the same thing for Bitcoin. People are taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge, and a lot of people are getting ripped off, and that's not a good thing. But this is why we're spreading some good information, and I'm going to show you where you can look to see exactly how transparent it is when you're joining a Bitcoin mining pool. The first website I'd like to show you is this one right here. It's called blockchain.info. Blockchain.info is a technical term for it is called a blockchain explorer, because everything that happens on the Bitcoin network is completely open source and public. So every transaction that happens, every block that's mined, every balance in every wallet, even though you don't know who the wallet belongs to, is visible on this blockchain explorer. It's like your interface, if you will, to view what's happening on this blockchain. And there's some charts here that you can pull up, and everything from the current market price. You've got graphs, the block sizes, how many transactions are happening every single day on this network, the Bitcoins in circulation. All the data is here. And someone's got a question. Hold on. Okay, so Mike's got a question. Let's see if I can address it. Is mining safer bet over the long haul? The power consumption versus Bitcoin compensation. Can the mining facility be shut down for any reason? Okay, well, a mining, if you're mining Bitcoin in your basement, that could be shut down. Right? You could be targeted. We talked about Napster, being shut down because it's central. Yes, anybody, someone could come raid your place and shut you down for no reason just because they. So yes, it's a facility, it's equipment, and someone could come and just raid it or, vandalize it. So it's possible, right? But there's no reason for anybody to do that unless they want to do harm to somebody, right? So, but that doesn't apply to just this space. That applies to any business or building. So, of course, it could be attacked, but you can't really place your bets on. Can't really answer more than that. So the mining information. Yeah.
Into that for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Jay.
So one of the questions that I kind of find is pretty humorous is a lot of people ask, what, and we can play the what if game all day long. So what if, there's an EMP blast? What if somebody knocks out the internet as a whole? Well, you have to think about that too. Are you going to be worried about where your Bitcoin is? Because if you're not involved in Bitcoin, then how are you going to go to the bank and get any money out of your ATM? Because Bitcoin is a digital currency, but if you really think about it, your bank account is a digital currency too. It's all ones and zeros. I mean, I know me personally, I hardly ever carry any cash on me anymore. It's all on my debit card. Well, it's the same kind of thing with Bitcoin. So when you start thinking about these what-if scenarios, there's going to be a lot worse things that you're going to think about outside of how to access your money or how to access your Bitcoin. I mean, at that point of no electricity, or if there's some kind of sabotage attack, then there's a lot of other larger issues that come into play when it comes to that. So digital currency isn't new. It's just this is new to a lot of people because of the massive increase in value. So, Sean, I'm going to turn it back over to you, buddy.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Share screen. So how transparent is the mining? So blockchain.explorer, you can have a look at the miners. And you can see the largest pools in the world right now. And before I actually share this screen, let me explain why there's pools, okay? So in 2009, when Bitcoin just got introduced and the smartest, the tech geeks, the basement geeks, if you will, started using it. It was just a social experiment, right? Nobody knew it was actually going to take off. But somebody had to start. So somebody had to install the software, run it, and then start solving those computer problems, and then start mining Bitcoin. And then as more and more people joined the network, more and more people, different people started collecting those newly mined Bitcoin. It was 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes that was awarded to somebody who was participating in the network mining. And then as the network grew over time, well, now the Bitcoin started getting distributed to more and more miners located in different areas of the world, depending on who decided to take part. And but now over time, the difficulty has to increase, because as more and more people are interested and get into the network, the difficulty of those math problems has to increase so that those equations can't be solved too fast, okay? It's designed specifically that, hey, a block of transactions needs to be solved every 10 minutes so that there's a certain amount of new currency that gets introduced. This is how the currency comes into circulation. So over the last decade, 16 million Bitcoin have come into circulation. We've talked about the total cap. It's ever going to be 21 million. That's going to take another, to the year 2140, right? So it's going to take a lot more years now to get those last 5 million, well, 4 million because we're at 16.9 million. But that's by design. You need to introduce the currency faster at first as more and more people come in. And now that more people are coming in, now the new currency is slowing down. And that's why we're seeing the price go up. And the difficulty of the network going up requires people to get better computing power. So in 2009, 2010, you could mine Bitcoin with just your simple laptop. HP, you bought for $500 down at Best Buy. Then later on, some people realized that, hey, if I use high-end gaming graphic cards, I can actually solve these math problems at an advantage than the guy next door using his HP. So I'll mine more Bitcoin. So then he started that. So they figured that out. And then after that, they designed a new device that's specific. It's called an ASIC. This is the device here. This device has a chip that's designed only to solve this math problem, nothing else. So I can't use this device for any other sort of useful calculations. So that's how we've evolved. It's a competition, right? People that are in the network to help secure the transactions, we're all in competition with each other. And those who have the most latest up-to-date equipment and who can run it efficiently, because these things do take electricity. They do heat up, so they require cooling. So it's like a game. Well, it's a business. So people are now in the Bitcoin mining business, if they will. And I like to make an analogy to Visa. So Visa, super large company, takes transaction fees off of every Visa transaction that goes on every single day. They make 3 to 4% every time you swipe your card. So they're making tons of money every single day just by merchants accepting Visa. Well, Bitcoin is similar, right? So by being part of a mining pool, well, then all those transactions that happen on the network, all those people that are buying, selling, trading Bitcoin, well, there's a slight transaction fee to do that. And there's a built-in block reward for now, right? Because the block reward diminishes over time. But as that happens, the transaction fees, more people will be using Bitcoin, so there should be more transaction fees to compensate and incentivize the miners to keep running their equipment. So the ecosystem is self-sufficient. And this is what's exciting. So you can actually position yourself to be part of a data center, just like Visa. Imagine if you had one share, 1% of Visa to your name, and then you collected those transaction fees, 1% every single day, you'd be well off, right? So with being in a Bitcoin mining pool, that allows you to position yourself for the long term, because if Bitcoin does and has the good, like if Bitcoin is massively adopted or goes up to $5-8 trillion market cap, like we discussed at the beginning of the call, then you will have a spot in that data center that will be paying you Bitcoin every single day just because you have a share in it, right? So that's the opportunity we have here with the mining. Now you can do it yourself. A lot of people say, you know what, thank you for the information. I'm actually going to go mine myself. I'd rather do it on my own. Well, good luck to you. I mean, you'll have to do some research. You'll have to find a way to get hands on your own equipment, how to program it, how to install it, maintain it, and then maybe you'll profit, maybe you won't. But this opportunity that we're going to show you tonight is going to allow you to do it without, hands off. Let the experts do it, and just collect my Bitcoin. So let's go back to this graph here. So this graph will show you that over the last 4 days, the largest mining pools in the world, who are collecting the most Bitcoin. And most of the big ones are in China. They don't really own their equipment, but they have a lot of people pointing their power, and they're mining a lot of coins. So Antpool here has mined 124 blocks in the last 4 days, and BitClub Network here has gotten 21. So the opportunity we're going to present to you right now is called BitClub Network, and it's a large mining pool that's competing with some of the top guns, mostly in China right now, and we're aiming to be number one. We're the 6th largest mining pool in the world. We own all of our equipment. It's been paid for by the members, and we use this equipment in very large facilities that I visited, which I will touch in a bit, and we mine these blocks. So if you're new to this, or if you're introducing somebody to Bitcoin or the BitClub Network opportunity, be sure to bring them to this website called blockchain.info. Go to the pools section and click on BitClub Network, and you can actually see with your very own eyes just every time we hit a block. And so today is December 6th, and we're currently sitting at 4 blocks. What does a block mean? A block means that we were able to solve that mathematical equation first for that 10-minute interval, and we were awarded 12.5 new Bitcoin plus the transaction fees in that block. So this particular block number 497,000, was a total of 14.17551897 Bitcoin. And at today's market value, that's $200,000. So $200,000 pretty much out of thin air. These are newly generated coins. So these aren't coins that were sent by somebody already on the network with coins. These were newly generated coins. And you can actually see BitClub Network's wallet, how many Bitcoins have been mined all time. We're sitting at 64,497 Bitcoin all time. At today's market value, $903 million. So over the last 3 years, BitClub Network has mined for its members $903 million worth of Bitcoin. And all this Bitcoin has been distributed to its members based on their positions, their shares, and And that's crazy. I mean, $903 million worth of Bitcoin in just 3 years. And we're just getting started, guys. Okay, it's just getting started. So this is how transparent it is, which is a good thing, because a lot of companies will say that they're, if you invest a certain amount of money with them, they'll pay you a certain return over a fixed amount of time. And more than likely, those companies aren't sustainable. Okay, they're just get rich, get quick, and they disappear overnight. So with BitClub Network, we have a 3-year track record, launched in September of 2013, and everything is verifiable. All the Bitcoin that they mine is verifiable, and those Bitcoins that are mined are used to pay off of our members for investing in the pool. And the next website I want to show you is a way for you to track our hash rates. It's bitclubpool.com. So on bitclubpool.com, you can actually keep track of the pool hash rates. We're currently sitting at 340 petahash per second on average right now. I saw it hit 370 the other day. And petahash, I had to do my research because I was like, what the heck is a petahash? Well, your laptop, the HP laptop we talked about earlier, the CPU in there has about a gigahash of computing power. So it can do about 1,000 calculations per second. And there's 1,000 terahash in a gigahash, and there's 1,000 terahash in a petahash. So 340 petahash is the equivalent of 340 million HP laptop computers, if you will. And that's how many guesses per second we can do with our equipment. Now, our warehouses aren't filled with HP laptop computers. They're filled with those ASIC miners I showed you earlier, which are far more efficient than a CPU. And you can actually monitor as we buy more equipment and set it up and install it. You'll see it here. And now technically, the more hash power that you have, the more Bitcoins you will mine, because mining Bitcoin is all about how fast you can guess at that mathematical answer and how lucky you are. So the statistics are here as well. If you scroll down, you'll see the blocks that we've mined here. Those are the same ones we saw on blockchain.info. And you can see how many guesses it took our computers to get at the answer. So this one took 1.7 trillion guesses. This one took 186 billion guesses. So the less guesses that it takes, the luckier we were. And this is the luck factor. So this was a pretty lucky block. We got it pretty fast. And then some blocks will be very unlucky, like this one here. It took 2.5 trillion guesses. So the more equipment that we have running for us, the better chance we have at solving that math problem first, which means that we'll get more Bitcoin for our pool, which means everybody will get a bigger share. And that's what we're doing as a team, is that we're crowdfunding this data pool. We're raising funds, and we've got huge purchasing power with the biggest manufacturer of these devices on the planet right now. They're manufactured by Bitmain. They've got pretty much the monopoly on these devices. So if you wanted to start mining your own Bitcoin today and you went to the Bitmain website, you'd probably have to wait a long time for your order, and you'd probably have to pay full price, roughly $2,000 per machine. BitClub Network has really large purchasing power because we've got over 300,000 members worldwide. We're able to make large purchases in bulk, talking about like hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment. So, we've got really good connections with the #1 supplier on the planet. So we're able to buy in bulk. And when you buy in bulk, you get reduced costs up front, right? Just kind of like if you buy Coca-Cola at Costco, if you buy by the can down at the local gas station, you'll pay $1.50 for your can of Coke. But if you go to Costco, buy the full rack, you'll probably pay 40 cents a can, right? So by buying in bulk, we can save on costs. And we've chosen some very specific locations on the planet. We don't mine in California where it's hot and the electricity is expensive. I was actually in Iceland in October, and Iceland is naturally cool. So we're talking about, on their warm season, 10 degrees centigrade, and on their cold season, 0 degrees centigrade. So it's always cool, and that cool air can be funneled into the facilities to keep this equipment cooled and reduce the AC bill, right? So if you don't need to pay AC, you're lowering your electricity cost, you're maximizing the efficiency of your operation, so that all those Bitcoins that you mine can actually be paid out to members. So to keep it as profitable as possible. So it's very exciting to see, the strategy, the decisions that the company has made over the last 3 years, and to be able to go visit it yourself. It was a life-changing experience for me, honestly, just to see these machines go at it and tour the country. And I hope every one of you get a chance to do it, maybe next year in the near future. So that's how transparent this business is. I mean, you can visit it yourself. You can see it on the blockchain, and it's been working out very well for myself and most people on this panel. So, Bitcoins are coming into my account every single day, and every single day I see the price going up. So we're getting paid in a currency that's going up, right? So what could be more exciting than that? If you got your paycheck at your day job, it's always going to be the same, right? But here you get your paycheck. 1 week it's worth one amount, and the next week it'll be worth even more because the price is going through the roof. So this is the opportunity that you have, that if you want to collect more Bitcoin, you can either buy it and hold on to it, but whatever Bitcoin you buy right now is the same amount of Bitcoin you're going to have a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It'll just be sitting in a wallet, collecting dust, gaining value, of course, which is not a bad thing, but you'll have the same amount. So with BitClub Network, you can make an investment in this equipment that'll be running for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can grow a business around it as well. So you can earn passively, or you can actually go out and spread the word, sell this equipment, get the word out, which is very exciting, because by getting the word out about Bitcoin, what are you doing for the ecosystem? You're creating adoption, you're creating awareness, which is driving the price up of the currency that you're collecting with this equipment. So there's really no other opportunity on the planet right now that's exciting as this, especially if you're not a programmer, if you're not a marketer, like if you don't have anything to contribute to the cryptocurrency space, well, this is a good opportunity for you to get in. So with that, I want to open the floor to questions, and if you guys want me to continue with more specifics, I'll be more than happy to. But we're closing in on an hour, so I want to make sure that I haven't given away too much. Okay, no questions. All right, well, let me tell you guys, so whatever you guys need, reach out to anybody on the call, who person who invited you here. We'll help you create a wallet. Well, it depends where you are. Do you have any Bitcoin? Do you know where to buy the Bitcoin? Do you want to invest into this mining pool so you can earn more Bitcoin? We'll get those questions answered. Now, once you've got some Bitcoin that you want to invest in this mining pool, what is it going to cost you, and what can you expect to get out of this mining pool? So let me cover that with you so that you see the long-term, the big opportunity that you have here before you. So the slide's a little outdated, but to join BitClub Network, there's three ways for you to join. You can either come in for $500, $1,000, or $2,000. Now, why are they split up into three? Because everyone's got different budgets. We want to cater to as many people as we can to make it accessible for the masses. Buying this hardware on your own, setting it up, is going to cost you a lot more upfront. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital now to manage a mining pool on your own. So if you can get in on a mining pool as low as $500 and grow a business around it, this is a great opportunity. Back in April, I started with the same thing. I created an account for $500. I was buying Bitcoin at low prices back then. It's still pretty low right now. And I capitalized on the market growth of the Bitcoin to fund my additional shares in the business. So for $3,500, what are you going to get? You're going to get 1,000 days. This is outdated. It says 600. But you're going to get 1,000 days of Bitcoin mining. So what does that mean? All the Bitcoin that we mine using these computers are basically distributed to all of our members based on how many shares you have in the business each and every day, every 24 hours. So what you can do with these earnings each and every day is we allow you to compound them or withdraw them each and every day. So you can choose whether you're going to, which percentage. So I recommend everyone compound their earnings for at least 6 months to a year to take advantage of some compound interest, to gain more shares, more hash rate, if you will, into the pool, because the more shares that you have, the more of a cut you're going to get from those newly mined Bitcoin that our pool is getting each and every day. And then eventually you can take out a residual from these passive earnings. So that's one way you can earn from BitClub Network, is get a share in this data center, try to compound your shares, try to compound your earnings into more shares over a certain period of time, and then take out a residual income for yourself when you're ready. So that can be done totally passive without sharing the opportunity with anybody else. So you're looking at around $3,500 investment, and so far it's worked out for me very well. My own share that cost me $3,500 back in April was 1.6 Bitcoin back then for that much money. And right now I've mined over half a Bitcoin in my account. So that's pretty good. And in about 6 months, I've already got a half a Bitcoin mined. So probably with another 6 months, I'll probably almost be halfway. We can't guarantee. There's no ROI with BitClub Networks. A lot of people will ask you, hey, what are my exact returns? It's not an investment, guys, like a guaranteed investment. We're crowdfunding a data center that's verifying transactions on the network and collecting block rewards. So there's a lot of variables involved there, and whatever the payout is the payout. And but it's in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going through the roof. So it's very exciting. And the other opportunity is to share the word with people. So if you want to build a business around selling these shares, you can. So by selling a Bitcoin mining share, you'll get a commission, right? So you'll get initial commission for the sale of the purchase. And then if those people also take their new earnings and reinvest them to earn more shares themselves, you'll actually get what we call a partial commission or a repurchase commission. So that'll create a true residual income for you. If any of you on this call have ever tried to build a business with a product like vitamins, weight loss, car insurance, it's great when you go out and make sales. You get initial commission. You might even get residual commissions because that customer of yours has to keep repurchasing the product, right? Month after month after month. But eventually that product they might get not interested in that product, or it might be a little bit too expensive and they found a better deal elsewhere. So they'll cancel their membership. And then you'll lose your residual income. But with Bitcoin and BitClub Network, that's not going to happen, because the product that we're selling are these computers, and these computers are producing Bitcoin, and these newly produced Bitcoin can then be used to pay residual commissions to all of our members. Because most members will be taking those Bitcoin, keeping some for themselves, and reinvesting the other portion, right? And so that portion reinvested creates residual passive income for each and every member. So it's a very exciting opportunity to build. And of course, we're getting the word out, guys, right? We're getting the adoption up. And the long-term vision of BitClub Network is to become the next Visa. Not only are we mining Bitcoin, we're mining other types of currencies out there. There's over 1,000 different currencies on the market right now. Most of them are probably not going to have any use cases, so they'll die down, but we're putting our toes in there. And we're actually launching an app probably in December. It'll be announced, ready for next year. And all of our members will be able to distribute this merchant program that will allow for cryptocurrency transactions to happen in store. So we're going to promote retail adoption. And that's pretty exciting, right? If we can get retailers or stores to accept cryptocurrencies, then we can become the next Visa, right? So all the stores accepting cryptocurrency transactions will collect the transaction fees instead of Visa. So that'll be another revenue stream for all of our members. So not only are we mining Bitcoin, but we're actually getting transaction fees if all of our members work together to distribute that product out there. And we can do it. We're in over 100 countries. We've got over 300,000 members, and everyone's just as passionate as I, if not more, about Bitcoin and mining it. So guys, I want to leave you with that. I hope that's enough information to really get you excited about what's coming. Don't just focus on the price. Yes, the price is great. I'm super happy about the price. Every day I look at my wallet and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Heck, I might even be able to quit my job in 6 months. My goal is by March to be job free. I'll have enough passive residual income coming in from my Bitcoin mining pool, and then I'll be able to use those earnings to invest into to real estate. Who knows, right? The sky's the limit now when you have an investor mindset, and you can really make some big changes for you and your family. I want to thank you guys for coming on board and listening to me yap. Jake, Take it away, bud.
Thank you, man. You actually did a phenomenal job, like always, brother. But Sean was absolutely correct. So everything that he went through, he covered, just touched on the basics and the fundamentals of Bitcoin. But that's not where it stops. I mean, realistically, you have to become a product of the product. So if you're interested in something, what do you wind up doing? You want to learn more. You want to be educated more, so that way you can have educated conversations with other people. And this is such a new industry. I mean, granted, we are coming up on 8 years old since it came out in 2009, but I mean, we are still literally in the infancy of this. As of right now, the price is just a little over $13,700 per Bitcoin. And I mean, that's not going to stop. So the reason that I bring that up is because at any point in time, you can go out and buy like 1 Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin or however much Bitcoin you want and just slowly accumulate it. And, that could be fantastic and that could be the end of it. But at the end of the day, what we like to call it is, buying and holding Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is like the golden egg. You can have it and you can accumulate it and you can just set it off to the side and eventually it's going to go up in value, but that's never going to be able to duplicate. You're never going to be able to have more of what you just purchased. Now the value is going to go up. So with the mining aspect, what that actually does is you come in for a smaller amount than what Bitcoin is currently. And then over the course of time, you're actually going to be able to wind up receiving Bitcoin on a daily basis for many, 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 many years, if not an entire lifetime, if you play it right. Now, there's a lot of advanced strategies that we talk about within BitClub Network, but really what we want to open up your eyes to is it's not just buying and holding. Now, that's a great strategy, but there's other better ways where you can take a small investment and multiply that out. And I mean, really the strategies that we teach inside both of our groups and with our team, it's just absolutely phenomenal. We've seen a lot of people have a lot of success, and to be able to get started with such a small amount and then to actually be able to be sitting on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full Bitcoins within, a couple of years, that's pretty powerful. And, that's definitely duplicatable. But the reality of it is everything that you've seen tonight, it doesn't matter at all if you don't take any action. So you could see the best investment opportunity in the world. Imagine how many years ago when those 9 people got invited to Mark Zuckerberg's room when Facebook was kind of the topic of discussion. And then out of those 9 people, 3 people showed up, and I think 2 people actually took part in it. So at this point in time, you need to decide, are you going to be the one that just heard about the information and then you see it 5 years from now and you're like, man, I really had a good opportunity, but I missed out on it. So pretty much at this point, the ball is in your court. But I will tell you that Wall Street is going to be involved as of December 18th officially in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency scene. So what we think of right now as $13,000 per Bitcoin could very well be $20,000 and north of before the end of the year. So that's just a little perspective on how fast that this can climb. I mean, as of right now, it is just now starting to get mainstream adoption. So that's pretty powerful. And with it being such its infancy, I mean, we are literally in a founding position for a revolutionary currency, which is going to, I mean, it's already global, but it's going to take off even more. So definitely, if you guys are on this call, somebody invited you to it, get back with them, get more information, get their link to sign up with BitClub Network, and we'll definitely see you guys on the other side or on one of our other training calls. So thanks for everybody for showing up tonight, and we'll see y'all on the next one.